Excuse me. Did I hear someone say, wait, hold up? He said, dope conversations deserve dope donations. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show love and hype them up.
You are locked in with Izzy Bands. Let's keep this energy going.
Mr. Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, Izzy Bands, who? Izzy Big Bands.
Welcome to the Real Spill with Mills. Welcome everybody to the podcast with Izzy Bands. Make sure you support the show, support the stream.
Now I mean,
Let's welcome the host, Mr. Izzy Bands.
let's go.
Support the show, support the stream.
Now I mean, yeah.
Yo, what's good, everybody? What's the deal? We got a special Sunday edition show for you. Yo, I'm telling you, this is the show of 2025 right here. This is the show of 2025 right here. There's been a lot of things said and a lot of people that said it. And a lot of times people do not have the proof, nor do they have the documentation to substantiate their arguments. And even me myself, when I've been in certain conversations, I had not had the information available. So I chose to get a reliable source on the matter. Shout out to my brother, my brother from another mother, and my friend, and a very enlightened person who has given me a lot of information I respect very much. Shout out to my good brother, Noble Imhotep is in the building. Salute to me. After today, if y'all don't know, it's because you don't want to know. If y'all don't know, it's because you don't want to know, right? We're going to put the information out there for you. We're going to put it out there for you. We're going to give you the dope information. Shout out to my peoples. Thank you, Jordan, man. Jordan coming out with the 10 and 10, 10. Thank you, Jordan. Let's go. Yo, today is going to be a different show. We do got a goal. But if y'all want your comments highlighted red, if you have questions or you want to debunk or whatever you call yourself doing, make sure you do it through the super chat like my people's Jordan or through the Cash App. Other than that, I'm going to speak to y'all. I am not highlighting your comments. I'm not going to read your comments today because my brother got a lot of information and time is valuable. So if you want to debunk something, if you want to debate something, now listen. My brother said we're gonna do a one-on-one, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm a capitalist. So if you put up a hundo and you want to come up and try to debunk or debate my brother, it's $100, and my brother's gonna get half. It's $100. He's getting half. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. But other than that, if you got comments, you got questions, you want to say something about something that's being said, do so through the super chat or do so through the Cash App, and we will highlight it. I'm telling you. All right. So without any further delay, let's get right into it. So my good brother Noble, we're gonna start. Did you want to say anything before we start pulling up the slides and pulling up the information?
Yeah. The truth is like a lion. You don't gotta defend it. You just let it out the cage and it'll defend itself.
Beautiful. The truth is like a lion. We ain't lying. Let's get to it. Let's go. All right. So this particular map, brother, what is this map of? And
this is an old map of Asia. I'm trying to remember the specific date. I thought the date was on the map, but if you notice here, you see China there, you see Persia. So this is an older map, right? You see Arabia, and you see Hindustan, right?
Hindustan.
So
Hindustan is over here to the left.
Right there where India normally, would be on a traditional map, right?
Mm-hmm. It says Hindustan. Yeah, sure it does.
Correct. So
okay.
Hold on.
So India was referred to as Hindustan before?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. Give you.
The date on the map, like the time frame?
Yeah. Give me some reference points.
All right.
Choo, choo, choo. Choo, choo, choo.
Let me celebrate Jordan in the meantime, between time while you're looking for that. Yo, thank you very much, Jordan, for supporting the show, supporting the stream. Y'all be like Jordan and support the show, support the stream. I really appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
God damn it, I like the way you do bit.
It don't matter what the situation. I'm just tryna climb any obstacle a nigga facing. See it through in due time. It's a marathon, you gotta pace it. You can't press rewind, you get left behind. Just grind and the rest be fine, 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 fine. No matter what the situation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So thank you very much to Jordan setting it off right. Shout out to my guy Savage Kills is in the building. Good to see y'all. Yo, tell a friend to come on in. We're gonna end this for once and for all. The title of the show is The Transatlantic Slave Lie. We're from here, and I can prove it. All right, so let's get into it.
So that you see Hindustan all over that map, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
India didn't become India officially until 1947, August 15th. It became an independent nation. It started being referenced that, in the early 1900s. But when Columbus came over here, the whole lie about he came over here and thought he was trying to go to India, find a different route, stumbled across the Americas and called us Indians. No, that's a farce. That term is actually that name actually derives from a term called Los Indios, which means godless ones, right? Because they weren't of Christian faith when they arrived. So yeah, that whole Columbus story in general is a big lie, and the actual transatlantic slave trade that most people that active people they are refer with Africans being brought over to the Americas was actually Native Americans or indigenous Americans being shipped over to Europe. So,
Whoa, 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 wait, what? Whoa. We can't skip over that. Say that
yep.
again. And why do you say that?
The first people to be transported across the Atlantic were American Indians. So one of the slides
From America to Europe.
from America to Europe.
Okay,
And
so
as a matter of fact, Carolina was one of their that was one of their biggest exports in the 1700s.
wow. Okay, so help me understand where do you have this reference material? Where does it come from? And then what was the purpose of them transporting indigenous people from this land to Europe? What was the purpose?
Just conquest, spoils, of war, of colonization. Hey, we're bringing these people back, to show the queen that we found some people. This is what we found, and along with gold and other precious metals, spices, tobacco, all kinds of things. So
And
then that started to become and a big export. They would capture us and send us across the waters.
Wow. Okay, so now let's
Hold
get
on.
into. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say one of the slides I sent you actually breaks that down. Let's
Which
see.
number?
I'm gonna find out which one it was. I sent you a bunch this morning.
Yeah, I got. Just tell me if it's like 6, 3, 2.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Do,
Also,
do.
let me welcome some people in the building. In the meantime, what's up, Tony Golden? Source, yeah, we're gonna get sources. Hey, listen, if y'all got if y'all got questions or you got concerns or you want to debunk something we're saying or question something that we're saying, do so through the super chat or through the cash app. This is gonna be a little different show. I'm not gonna ask y'all for any money or whatever the case may be. We're gonna go through this literature, but if you have any questions or you have anything you want to debunk with, do so with the super chat or with the cash app. All right. Shout out to my guy Raj Will is in the building. Good to see you, Raj. Salute to Raj Will is in here. What's up, brother? What's going on, Jordan? Appreciate you again. Jordan setting off, setting off right. What's going on, Mr. Center on the World? What up? What up? What up? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, and my guy Savage. Listen, was it that one that I pulled up earlier with the woman?
Look at that first one. It's not numbered. It just say is show on it.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let me
It's,
pull that up. I
it's
got
one.
you.
It says American Indian slave trade.
Okay, I got you. Let's get into it. Let's go here. Go pull this down, and then I'll pull that up. There we go. All right, let's get to it.
Now,
Let me.
for the people to know, I'm not saying that there wasn't any involuntary servitude here in the Americas. I'm not saying that no Africans were transported across here. My stance is that those numbers are grossly over exaggerated uh, to basically convince this new age of people that European explorers and slave traders were responsible for the melanated population that's here in the Americas. My stance is that there's always been melanated people in the Americas since antiquity.
Okay. All right. So shout out to that, and let's go back to this. Okay. So we're gonna go to this. Go ahead and break it down.
That's not the slide I was looking for. You slide over to the American Indian slave trades. So there it goes right there. Zoom in on that. First of all, you notice the picture. You see the color of the Indians, right? So enslavement of Native Americans, right, particularly in the Carolina colonies, started in the 16th century, continuing through to the 18th century, right? Um, Trade began in the 1520s. By the late 17th century, Carolina traders were actively capturing and selling indigenous Americans, often rivaling tribes to facilitate the trade. Commerce of enslaved Indians became a vital part of Carolina's economy, overshadowing other trade activities like deerskin and fur trading. So they were trading more indigenous Americans than they were trading fur.
Where were they trading to, and who were they trading them with?
Well, Carolinas were part of those original colonies, so they were sending it, back to England primarily. So
Okay.
a lot of the melanated, England, British people, a lot of them,
Originated.
they were, mixed blood of Moorish descent, of Eastern European, as well as indigenous American. So
All right. So let's start this. Let's start this from the beginning, right? Let's start this from the beginning. This is original history of ancient America. So is this going to tell us how these so-called melanated people that are more likely us than other people, how they got here, and originally
Well,
how did they get here?
they've always been here, in my opinion, based off of the research and archaeological sites, as well as the blood. So I don't have that in the slide for you anything, but um, it's really ties into malaria, right?
Okay.
Um, Plasmodium vivax malaria, in particular, one of the oldest strain, was discovered or was established in the New World 15 million years ago, before humans, even existed on the planet, right? Just existed primarily in primates and birds, right? So um, the the human that develops through natural selection in a malaria rich environment over thousands of years will start to develop an immunity, right? This immunity was discovered in 1955. It's called the Duffy negative antigen, and it's a immunity to Plasmodium vivax malaria, that particular strain, right? Um, it is ironically, it's it's right. Like, so right now, it's they're using that as a marker with these direct to consumer genetic testing companies like 23andMe and Ancestry.com. All these companies are using that marker to assign sub-Saharan African ancestry. The irony is that right now, sub-Saharan Africans are being ravaged by that particular strain of malaria. So, if how are they using that marker to identify us when we have this natural immunity to that, right? And if we came from over there, right, how come we have this immunity and they don't?
Okay. And so, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the O plus blood type that
Uh,
carries.
Oh, not so much O plus. It's a singular nucleoid polymorphisms, which is basically a mutation in the blood to basically prevent malaria infections. It's an immunity to. There's a couple different strains of malaria, but this particular strain of malaria is like I said, it'll make you sick. If it's not treated well over time, it can kill you. But it's the basal level of malaria.
So do only melanated people in the Western world in America have this automatic automatic immunity to it, or is it just
It's an
Americans period? Is it Americans period, or is it how does that work?
Aboriginal Americans here in the United in the Americas, from we talking about from South America all the way up, right? Have this immunity. The what they call them, the Afro Latinas, and of each one of those countries has a population of melanated people that they'll claim are remnants of the transatlantic slave trade, but if they have that immunity, then they absolutely are from here, because that that form of malaria originated here. There's actually a tree that's actually used to treat malaria, or the symptoms of malaria, and it's indigenous to the Americas as well. There's even pictures of depicted of the indigenous children giving it to the conquistadors as a way for them to actually I got a picture of it here. To the branches that are being handed to the European,
Mm-hmm.
the young Peruvian, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is from the chichona tree. It's a Peruvian bark. It's an early remedy against malaria. So the indigenous people of the Americas have been treating that for forever. So those that through natural selection, right? The strongest are going to survive. Those people that have that immunity are going to live on to pass on that genetic mutation or singular nucleoid polymorphism. So, if if we have this immunity, again, going back to that, right? And we were all brought from,
Africa.
sub-Saharan Africa, right? How
Mhm.
come we have this immunity and they don't?
Well,
That's
okay. So
the
how
question.
can we prove? How
The
can we
answer.
prove in modern? I mean, of course. I mean, I guess the most logical conclusion is none of us have got malaria in, in forever, right? But how can we prove that that we have an immunity to this malaria? Number one, and then number two, how can we tie it into the fact that it's from being indigenous to this land versus
Well,
being indigenous to sub-Saharan Africa, excuse me.
an immunity doesn't just pop up in a couple hundred years, right? Because technically, it's only been even tens of thousands of years. We talking, takes hundreds of thousands, right? For an immunity like that to actually be there, right? If we want to stick to the blood, the blood type O is called O because it's the original blood type. It's the universal donor. I can give my blood to everybody, but I can only receive blood from other O types, right? So where rule of thumb is wherever something is most heavily saturated is usually place of origin, and blood type O is found at a 70% saturation in the Americas.
Right. But this is the thing though, of that 70% saturation in America, allegedly 53% of those are Latin-based people in America. 47
Amalgamated, huge
47%.
amalgamation.
47% of those people are of so-called African Americans in America, black people in America, so-called black people in America. And then 37% are represented, 37% of that number are represented by so-called white people in America. So how do you explain that particular thing? How do you explain that particular phenomenon?
We've been global navigators for forever. So our seed was spread far and wide, all over the place. So I mean, that's only explanation for indigenous food staples that are indigenous to the Americas that the rest of the world thrives on, like maize and potatoes, for instance. Not to mention all the huge fruit staples that are found indigenous to the Americas.
Now, I've heard contrary to that, especially like in Ireland and in that area, that they do have potatoes are indigenous to that land as well. Is that what's
I
the
haven't heard that. I could be wrong on that. I haven't heard that. That must be some new information. But from all of my research, most of the variations, if not all of them, are found or indigenous to the Americas, Central and South.
So let me ask you this. So what's to be said about this whole DNA? Because I was having a conversation with some gentlemen, I'm gonna say that loosely, the other day on a specific channel, and they were trying to say, well, where's your DNA test? Where's your DNA test? And I showed them a picture of my great grandfather who is an indigenous man, and you could clearly tell he's an indigenous man. But they're like, oh nah, he's African. I'm like, yo, he's not. He was not African. He was an indigenous man. I'm trying to tell you, he had the hair like it. They're like, no, that's nappy hair. I'm like, yo, fam, that's not. I'm trying to tell you, that's that other shit because I got it right. And so I'm like, so at the end of the day, I'm just asking, like, what is this whole phenomenon about the DNA test? How reliable are these quote unquote DNA tests from these major companies? And why or why not should we embark upon getting our DNA?
If you don't, well, if you're gonna use your DNA for actual data mining of your raw data, then it's for entertainment purposes only, because what they're basically doing is analyzing your DNA code from your saliva, right? and then they are putting it into their AI algorithm, and whatever they've programmed those markers to, or assigned those markers to, they're just gonna it's just gonna spit it out to you, and then you have access on their website to look at it and ooh and oh I got this much, this much. There's some variations there, right? And you can slide how accurate or how probable the numbers are, and if you move that needle, it'll actually show you how, if you want to be 100% accurate, the numbers are completely changed. So it's for entertainment purposes only, unless you've been actually studying genetics and have some know what you're actually looking for. Or like the person I learned or started getting interested in with the route, he asked the right questions to the people in the forum, and them not expecting he knew anything. They just gave him answers like, how are you assigning, what markers are you using to assign sub-Saharan African ancestry? And they came back at him with a marker that is prevalent in lots of people around the globe, which is melanin production. Secondly, a marker having to do with lactose intolerant, which most of us are. And thirdly, that definitely negative antigen, not knowing that he, was well studied and knew exactly what, all of those markers were. And from there, you can, with knowing the history of malaria and how long it takes for that mutation to take place, he started to really data mine his own DNA and decode it, and, really opened a lot of people's eyes to, with concrete proof that, hey, there's a lot of proof to saying that, humans might have originated from here, not the other way around.
Let's get into that. So I've heard that, and in my later years, I'm starting to see how that could be the case, especially with certain rivers and certain intersections and different things of that sort in nature, right? So give us some substantive evidence that you found, that you come across, that could really substantiate that claim that life might have started here in the Americas, and it still was melanated people who it started with.
Now there was hominids, globally. Particularly there was, the famous one, Lucy, but hominid means damn near ape, right? They're not, nothing sophisticated about them. But the oldest anatomical modern human skeletons found on the globe are all found in South America and Mexico. So, and I'm not talking about hominids again. I'm not talking about Denisovans or Neanderthals or anything, which, by the way, no Neanderthal skeletons have been found off of Eurasia, none in Africa, none in the Americas. So that kind of breaks the theory of human evolution. Theory. And there's a bunch of archaeological sites that were found here in the Americas that don't fit into the timeline, that when thoroughly researched by archaeologists, they actually get shunned by their peers in the community for digging into that down a rabbit's hole, like Quiet Laco in Mexico. They every time they tested it, comes back hundreds of thousands of years old, right?
What is that? I apologize. What is that exactly that you, Huaylaco? What is that?
Huaylaco is a archaeological site found in Mexico. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head exactly where it's located. But they found human activity. I'm talking about fire, spear, actual, bones where they actually, cooked, and that's, Cro-Magnon, Homo sapien activities.
So then, in essence, then they are. So then the Latino is the original man, then, right? But give me one second before you answer that. Shout out to Drez. What's up, Drez? Shout out to 979. What's up, family? Shout out to Darryl Long. What's good, family? How you doing? Salute to you. What's up? JC the Conqueror. JC said, what would happen to the black community if they realized they wasn't slaves? LOL. Well, that's not entirely accurate, but you know what I'm saying? It does have some accuracy to it. We're gonna get into all of that, right? So listen,
you figure out what slide that one was on, because I got a bunch of that too.
That was on. I got that up. That was on slide number 4, I believe, because I got that. So
Okay.
Listen, in the meantime, between time, if y'all, this is not a regular show, so I'm not gonna, but if you want your comments highlighted in red, or if you have questions, do so through the super chat or the Cash App. I got love for y'all. I'm not really gonna read y'all comments unless y'all supporting the show. I'm be honest with you. Today is a different kind of show. I'm building with the brother. He has a lot of useful information, so I want to get to that. So if you have any questions, you want to debunk something he said, you don't agree with something he said, do so through the super chat or through the Cash App. All right, let's get to it. So then that would imply that the original man is a Latino, then, huh? A Hispanic.
Well, that the Hispanic, that's a new people. That's you got mestizos, you got Moriscos, and now and then the indigenous population that was already there, right? There's a lot of genetic transgression upon this land. So where the original people of these places have been moved around and all over the place. So what more than likely happened, based on the evidence that I've researched, is that there was a inter-American slave trade, right, where people were captured in North America, washed on the islands, and then shipped to South America, and vice versa. So that's something more like, they always bring up Amistad. Amistad was coming from the islands of Cuba, I think, I forget, one of the Gulf states, but that's more than like, because I mean, let's be honest, the Atlantic Ocean is where hurricanes actually go. They got a whole hurricane season for half the year, from June 1st to November 30th is hurricane season. On average, there's 12 to 15 tropical depressions or hurricanes through that season. So in 6 months, there's about 2 to 3 hurricanes coming through the ocean, right? So you telling me that on ships, they were filling the ships with, stuffing it with humans, plus the amount of water required for cargo and crew for that 2 to 3 month voyage. That's a lot of water, because humans can only live 8 days without water, right? So the weight of the water, the weight of the cargo is going to stuff the hull of the ship, severely compromising the buoyancy of the ship. And you're telling me that during those 6 months, they went through 2-3 hurricanes, on that voyage just to get here? It's not a smart business move if I'm in the business of moving people. If I keep losing ships, and then where you get all the wood to build all the ships necessary to ship all of the people you claim to have shipped across the ocean. Like, it would have taken, by my calculations, about 49,000 voyages, right? And you got...
They claim it's 36,000 voyages, right? They claim that it was approximately 12.7 million. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, with the reason why that can't be is because they also claim in their historic records that the largest slave ship on record was 400, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave them, by their numbers, off of 11.2 million, not 11.7. See, that number just keeps changing every some odd years. But that 11.2 to 500 per ship, right, comes out to 49,000 by my calculations, right? So either way, 40,000, 50,
yeah, that's a vast difference from the millions that they claim to have come. But this is the thing. They only claim 388,000 reach North America, and they claim around 8 million total reach between Brazil, mostly in Brazil, and then the rest throughout South America. Now, and I think we both can agree with this. The easier trip would be from West Africa to Brazil. That's the easiest trip, even though that's a pretty difficult trip in and of itself by those standards back
There's
then. But that would have been
there's a current that they can ride, right?
right. That would have
So
been the easiest one. But
yeah,
but for them, we both agree that for them to have come from way over there to over here would at that volume is virtually impossible and non-existent, especially at that particular time frame. We both
my
agree.
point about the hurricanes is that they for 6 months out of the year they had to cut that down. So you're either cutting down on the amount of time that you got to move all those people in that short. So for 2 to 3 month voyage, 6 months out of the year you got hurricane risk, right? You're so that you only got either 100 years to do 100 200 years to get that number of people at 400 a pop. It's not doesn't make sense.
Hey,
The math doesn't math for me. Not to mention the cholera outbreaks that would have came out with the methods that they claimed to have transported us would have killed cargo and crew.
facts. Without clean water source, without a good bathroom source, without food for that length of time, without be medical care, you know what I'm saying, for that length of time, it's virtually impossible. But
Anybody who would have made it there, you would have had to kill them when they got off the ship.
right, because there'd have been all kinds of stuff, scurvies, seas, it'd have been bad. Hey, Romello 747, welcome to the show. Good to see you, brother. He said any seller will tell you the Atlantic is the most troublesome water. They usually island hop or hug the coastal lands. Shout out to you, family. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. And what's going on, family? Yo, listen, again, if y'all want your comments highlighted and read, especially if you have questions or comments, today and today only, I'm gonna give y'all one, you know what I'm saying, to welcome y'all to the show, but y'all gotta do it through the Cash App or the Super Chat because we're not really gonna ask like that. Shout out to my man Kojak 303 the Great. What's up, family? Good to see you always. All right, so we okay, so we're here. Where you said we were always here. When you say we were always here, if you had to put a date, do we when Jesus was allegedly walking the earth? Were we here when Jesus was allegedly walking the earth?
Well,
How long would you say that this landmass is? And then how long would you say that we as inhabitants of this landmass is?
Well, look, they to stay with genetics, right? So they had in their genetic makeup, right, from for as far as Y chromosomes, right? The oldest was A0, right? And they called that Adam. And Adam was from Africa. Played along with the theory of human evolution, right? Up until about 2016, when a young lady who couldn't get her DNA done, she couldn't figure out her Y chromosome because she didn't have any brothers and her dad had passed. So she was able to, on his hairbrush, get some of his hair follicles. She sent that in, and they couldn't match Albert Perry's Y chromosome anywhere on their marker. Matter of fact, his Y chromosome came back 340,000 years older than their Adam Y chromosome. And he was from Carolina.
And his name was Alan Perry?
Albert Perry.
Albert Perry. And
Feel free to Google him.
He was a melanated black man. Okay, so where did you get this? Where did you get this information from? What's the source on this particular information? And who are these people who discovered his chromosome? Y chromosome was 340,000 years older than the a previous genetic marker.
That was a Science Daily article. I dated around 2018 or 19 that this is on there. You can It's a simple Google search, Albert Perry. You'll see the articles pop up in the story. I don't recall particular all the details, but that's basically a summary of it. I encourage everybody to not believe anything that I say. Do your own due diligence and your own research. Try to prove the information wrong, and if you end up proving you right in the process, pay that information for it. That's all I ask. I
That's
don't
good.
expect you to listen and take me, because that's what I want to encourage is critical thinking. I want people to attack information the way I did, with the same critical intent to prove it wrong. And in my research, I've discovered what I'm sharing with you guys.
Shout,
But
shout out
I'm
to Jordan.
always open to being wrong, if proven wrong, I will humbly accept that I was wrong, and because my only goal is to get to the ultimate truth of everything, and I know we've been lied to.
No doubt. Hey, shout out to Jordan. I appreciate you. He said, I remember that story. And thank you, Jordan. Jordan was the only one that supported the show so far. So I appreciate you, Jordan. Thank you. So I will be highlighting your comments, Jordan, because you have supported the show so far. Okay, so we have Albert Perry, 340,000 years more the Y chromosome. What's up, Braxton Snaping? Than the original.
He on the now he's known as A00. So A00 is Albert Perry, right?
So he's 340,000 years older than what they say the Adam chromosome was.
Yep, and just because there is, you're gonna run across some a group of Cameroonians, right, that also had found that A00, right? But right, um, the median joining network shows that the African American A00 lineage is 11 mutational steps from the nearest Igbo tribe, and the maximum difference between any two pairs is 9 steps. So that they have the A00, but ours is older, or Albert Perry's is older.
Okay. So now that they had Albert Perry's Y chromosome as a genetic marker, now 340,000 years older than the previous A01 chromosome.
A0.
A0, I apologize, A0. And so that's known as A00. I apologize about that. What is so now with that being said and that information out, you would think that they would be able to give you good genetic evidence based on that. So what's the problem with them giving us accurate genetic information? Number one. Number two, what are some more substantive things? Because everybody's talking about these Asiatics that came across the Bering Straits. Beside them coming from Alaska, the Alaskan territories down into the Washingtons and the you know what I mean, from that area, from Canada down. And so having more of an Asiatic what we call more of an Asiatic phenotype, or whatever the case may be. So what are some more substantive evidence that we have that in fact the people that look like us, the more melanated people, we are the original people of this land?
Well, I got a meme that one we discussed earlier that kind of talks about since we're talking about genetics. No, not that one, but that's some historical. I think that was in a meme that first email I sent you. Okay, remember I told you about the article on how old pale skin has been on the planet.
Okay, give me a second. I got you.
And it's safe to assume that when
is it this one?
Yep.
Okay.
So again, this was written by them, not us, right? So scroll up to the top left.
Yeah, it's I don't know what's going on with my computer. Like trying to get it to move over, it just keeps zooming in and out. It won't.
Gotcha.
Let me see him try. It's not going. It's not cooperating with me.
Okay. Well, the nitty gritty is where you're at. I can read the other part,
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second.
but this kind of playing into their land bridge theory, right? They're think they're well, let's see what Google says right now on there.
Okay.
Okay. So 11,000 years ago, that land bridge existed. The land bridge didn't become exposed until 36,000 years ago, they claim, right? So at earliest, 36,000 years ago is when, according to their human evolution theory and their migratory theory, that's the earliest that humans could have came across that land bridge and populated the Americas, all of the Americas. Well, we got a calico site in the Mojave Desert. It's like 90,000 years ago, human activity. You got um, I think it's just Hollister, Tennessee. Um, they found, pygmies, anatomical modern human pygmies, skeleton, 300 of them, 55,000 years ago. Got Hawaii at Laco, 200 some thousand years ago. Um, Toca de Esperanza site. I think that one's like, 60 or 70,000 years ago. And these are just, sites that I have off the top of my head. Sierra de Capivara site in South America and Brazil. That's, well over 100,000 years ago, human activity. So that just, debunks that right there. So, and then the Siberians right now, what's their complexion? They about, my complexion at least, if not, your complexion is. Right. So that doesn't justify this, the ones that are claiming the $5 Indians, the pretendians, the ones that claim to be, are sitting on on those reservations. They were taught to act and dance like us with no rhythm. Yeah, you see, you've been in one of these powwows?
Nah, I've never been to a powwow before. I've
No
never
rhythm.
been to.
No rhythm.
Yo,
You could just you could just tell that you can smell the European on their breath.
mm. Hey,
Eastern
hey,
European.
hey, shout out to Darvell. Shout out to Laura ADS. What's going on, brothers? Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. So now let's go to that. Let's go to the fact that the native people, the pretendians, of the landmass, all are pale complected people, lighter people, and those are the people that have the reservation. How come, number one, no melanated tribes have reservations? Why is that?
Well, they only those reservations are, they had to be federalized, right? And basically become second class U.S. citizens, and they only get certain privileges on their reservation land. And there's a few at the top that are, exploiting all of the benefits of that, and the people are suffering on their lands. The alcoholism is at a abnormal high rate in their communities, and I call it karma.
Well,
You know,
I got you, but I'm gonna ask you again. How come the melanated people, the Creek, the Choctaw, the Iroquois, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw,
They
The
they have they all. What do you mean? They're all in Oklahoma. I sent you that. I sent you that slide too.
okay, they're in Oklahoma, but how come they
Mhm.
don't look like us?
Because of the Dawes rolls, right? After the Indian Removal Act, right? The Dawes rolls, they allowed white people or European settlers to actually pay $5 to get on those rolls, and they infiltrated, the tribe, right? And segregated and usurped the power within the tribe, and kind of took over. Now think about this. You All the Indian Removal Act, right?
Okay.
They send all of the five civilized tribes, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, and the Seminole, right? They send them all up to Oklahoma territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find out there's oil out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Greenwood district of Tulsa is right in the heart of Cherokee country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that where Black Wall Street? Ain't that where all the richest, wealthiest, melanated people were at the time? Right?
One of them, yeah,
Why?
one of
Why?
them.
Why? Why? Coincidence that they're in Indian territory? No, they was the Indians.
Okay.
Those were the Indians. The Indians used, they were using that well. And again, there was some jealousy amongst the those that weren't prosperous there, and they took out the city, right? And took the land. Now the land's in control of the Pretendians, right? The $5 Dawes Rolls Indians, right, are now the heads of all of those tribes. So there are some tribes that have gotten UN recognition, like the Washita. Their tribe was given I think 66,000 acres in Louisiana. Back northern Louisiana. So they're recognized as the oldest indigenous people on the planet by the UN, right?
And what do those people look like?
They look like you and me, more like
Mm.
more like you.
The Wachita people, huh?
Yeah, the Mississippians, the mound builders, right? Their response, all when asked, all of these tribal chiefs who asked about these pyramidal mounds all up and down the Mississippi, and they've outright admitted that their people didn't build them, right? Our people did it, the melanated Americans, right? Again, a lot of us, the slave trade was taking North Americans, washing them in the islands, taking them to South America, taking South Americans, washing them in the islands, bringing them up to North America. On after that voyage and everything, you don't know where you're at. You don't know that you're still on this side of this hemisphere of the world.
Mm. Deep. Hey, shout out to Ramil Israel. What's going on at Carnival versus Powwows? Yo, shout out to you. Appreciate you, man. And shout out to Trevor Jackson TV. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Izzy, what's good? About to check out the live while I'm in the gym, getting busy. Shout out to you, man, in the gym,
That
getting
work,
busy.
get
My
that
brother,
work.
Trevor Jackson TV. Good to see you, brother. Always, always. And congratulations on your success. I see you growing and building, man. I see you growing and building. Shout out to American Tradesman. What's up, American Tradesman? Good to see you. Say, yep. Hey, listen, if y'all have questions, do so through Super Chat or through the Cash App. If you have questions, I'm not reading y'all comments like that today. I'm only going to highlight, your first comment, unless you support the show. Jordan has supported the show, so I've done his more than once. But today, because we're not really asking for support, if you want your comments or highlighted, if you want to ask questions, do so through the Super Chat or through the Cash App. Appreciate y'all. All right, brother. So where you want to go next? So basically, you're saying how the Washita. I mean, those people, those are highly melanated people, look like me. You know what I'm saying? And those particular people, in northern Louisiana, and those people are recognized as from the UN as the oldest
People on the
indigenous
planet.
people of this land, right? That's very, very interesting. And so they were given 66,000 acres of land. Where can we find this information at? Because this is the first time I'm hearing this.
It's a Google search, man. They look up the Washita Empire.
How you spell Washita? Washita.
WASHITAW.
Okay. Washitaw, Washita, the Washita Nation. Okay. Now look now. So when, look at this. Now this is interesting. Check this out. I'm gonna make myself
Mm-hmm.
large for a second. Check this crap out. When you look AI, it says self-proclaimed sovereign nation that claims to be descendants from indigenous people who inhabited North America for thousands of years. You see that?
Look below it though. You see them people pop up.
Which people? Oh yeah, it said it is tied to the sovereign citizen movement and has been monitored by them people with organizations like Anti-Defamation League (ADL) considered it an extremist group. So where is Jesus, Jiminy Creek? That why? So let's
But
get into this. This is a perfect time to get
there's
into
a
this.
UN
Why,
there's a UN document for it. So too,
why is there such a peace, family, peace? Good to see you, family. Why is there such a concerted effort to keep us from being able to claim? Why would they take our language, take our culture, take our traditions away, then tell us we're from Africa, right? And swear out we're not from here and make such a concerted effort to keep us from knowing where we're actually from. Why is that such a big thing? Why is that such a huge thing?
because the law and so jus sanguinis is the right of blood, right?
Mhm.
It's the highest right, in uh, heirship or estate cases, right?
Mhm.
Blood trumps all else, right? There's also jus soli, which is right of soil, where you were born, right? Well, blood trumps soil, right? And it's imperative that in order to keep the soil, that the blood right heirs to the land have no idea that they are an heir to this vast estate, and that there's people that are sitting as imposters, taking federal benefits to claim to be you, so that they can run essentially a Ponzi scheme on the rest of the people in this country.
No doubt. So prove me wrong. Says my genealogy and my DNA says I'm African. Well, I mean, maybe you have people from Africa, but we've already shown that everybody's DNA is going to say that because that's where they set the genetic markers at. It's not because it's accurate information. Go ahead, fam.
Also, there's I've looked at a lot of people's DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who I know personally, their parents were first year immigrants from their country, right? I got a friend that's from Cameroon. I got some Nigerian friends. I got a Senegalese homie. I got a Tanzanian homie. I got some people from Germany. I've
It,
seen
it's
a
is
lot.
is your Tanzanian homie name a Cash Kid even? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, it's actually a lady.
Okay.
But I've looked at their DNA from 23andMe and Ancestry.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also looked at a bunch of, you know, uh, ADS, ADLSs, American Descendants of Slavery, ADOSs, in, FBAs, I guess that's the term they call themselves now. And the FBAs, the American Descendants of Slavery, which would include us, yes, right? They always have a significant portion of their DNA that is unassigned, right? Like they
Mm-hmm.
can't fit this into their puzzle anywhere on their genetic map, right?
When you say significant, when you say significant, give me quantifiable numbers if you can remember.
Anywhere from 1% to 1.2 percent of your whole genetic makeup can't be assigned to any of their um, you know uh, territories on the globe. Like they can't
Okay.
attach it anywhere, right?
Okay.
I've seen it as low as 0.6, but all of the other people I mentioned, I can find 100% of their stuff is found on their DNA. There's no unassigned DNA there at all,
Okay.
right? I don't know why that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm it's pattern recognition for me. I look at so many and I just something sticks out. That's something that I notice sticks out. So there, I know there is something that my assumption is that they can't assign it to anything because whatever's there is older than everything that they've been able come across. So they can't. It doesn't fit onto their table at all.
Okay, but one would say that 1% or 1.6% or definitely 0.6% is not a significant number. You know what I mean? It's not a significant number like to
Like I
to
said,
really say.
it's pattern recognition, my friend. So
I got you. So with that said, why? So I need a better explanation. I'm not gonna lie to you. Why that's not to me. I hear you, but I'm not quite convinced about this whole thing about this Africa thing. Why the so-called people from this land that take a 23andMe, that take a DNA test from was it myancestry.com, that these DNA tests overwhelmingly come back that they're from this part of West Africa or that part of West Africa, that region in West Africa. Why is that? You know what I mean? When a lot of these people don't have anybody significant that they can point to in their family and say, yeah, this my uncle was from Africa, or my grandfather, or my grandmother, or whatever the case may be.
Well, again, they want to make sure that nobody can wake up and stake claim to their to the land because it wasn't sold. There's Louisiana. They didn't buy it from France. The purchase wasn't like that. They didn't turn over any money or anything like that. It's a huge front. They were at war against the indigenous people and they were taking the land, and those indigenous people became prisoners of war, and we will know that as slavery. So when the victor can always write the history on what happened. And
And I apologize, but when you win the war, it's no longer the other person's shit. You took it over. You conquered it. You took it over. Now it's your shit, right? I mean, like how can someone stake claim to someone that's something that's already been taken by articles of war?
because you had agreements in place that you broke, treaties that were in place that you broke. So technically, in the law, I mean, you still breach of trust at the very least. Multiple treaties that were broken with the tribes here. Treaty of Guadalupe, Treaty of Hidalgo, a bunch of different ones that they just reneged on. The United States is technically a usufruct, right? They were given a portion of the land to actually work in agriculture and do commerce and everything, but they weren't supposed to transgress and overreach the boundaries that were set up from its inception. So there was a lot of things that were, I mean, the founding fathers were Masons, right? So although they were working with the indigenous people to set things up, they learned how to do all this from the indigenous people. The Iroquois Confederation is what they drafted the Articles of Confederation, but almost copied all verbatim. So, like I said, once they learned the game, did the same thing they did to the Moors of Europe. Once they learned the game, okay, now we got the Renaissance era.
Shout out to Pete 07 Izzy. What's up, Pete? What's going on? Good to see you, family. Good to see you always. Good to see you in the building. So okay, all right. So now, cool, and you always give these perfect segues. All right, so now people have been here for millennia, right? Look like us. We're born here, raised here, originated here.
I sent you a
Enter
picture at a Mayan temple. All of them look like us with dreads and everything.
so enter tribal wars, intertribal slavery, basically. More like indentured servitude type situation, right? Um, and then the European comes. Now they attributed Christopher Columbus for sailing the ocean blue in 1492, which ironically coincides with the last Moors being dispelled from Granada. This is ironic, they don't hide that in the history.
How does it go from how does it go from Al Andalus to Spain in that same year, right?
Right,
And
right,
then create a whole language called Spanish out of thin
right,
air. No, it wasn't Spanish. That's Moorish Latin. That's all.
right.
That's all Spanish is Moorish Latin.
Right. And then I've heard now, and we could get into this a little later. I've heard that the English that we speak is actually a trade language from the Moors. It's actually our language. It's a combination of multiple languages, but it's actually our language, and it's a trade. It was a maritime trade language. Is that accurate, or
Well,
is that
the old Roman Latin, what they call it, the Romance languages, that's the trade language that was used everywhere, and there was different variations of it spoken in different areas of the world for trade purposes. But that's that it all comes from the great mariners of the world that basically ran the trade around the world, which were the Moors. That's why their name, the name Moor, is also a verb. A maritime verb, or a nautical verb. To tie down. Moor the ship to the dock.
so? With that said, right? With that said,
Columbus was my complexion at lightest. I- it-
what's that, Yakub?
it's
Yakub.
impossible for him not to be. I mean, there was 700 years of
800.
conquest,
800.
rule.
Yeah.
800, 711 to 1492. That's a long time. It's a lot of harems. There's a lot of bastard children being born. There's a lot of whatever the complexion of the mother, that them children more than likely came out amalgamated more at lightest. So the idea that Columbus was some white Protestant Christian, no. Catholic, no, he was absolutely swarthy in complexion.
Absolutely. And that's so okay. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So basically the idea that saying that he was Caucasian, absolutely incorrect, right? And then he goes allegedly in this discovery of spices and silks in India, which you've already shown it was Hindustan, so it wasn't even India there, so that could have been true. And he lands, and they try to make it seem like he landed in America, which he didn't. He landed in present day island of Hispaniola, or modern day Haiti / Dominican Republic, and some people even say it might have been Barbados, but those are the things I've heard, right?
It was Tortuna Island in North Haiti, right? To where he actually landed. It's this island, or just north of the mainland of Haiti. But he went directly there on purpose, directly to Haiti. That's because that's where the crown was, of the Americas. That's where he came to do business with the Americas. He had to go and get permission because, like I said, he had a Moorish navigator because there was already trade going back and forth for hundreds of years before Columbus, sailed over here. So he had foreknowledge of the Americas. That's why he knew exactly where to go, because he had a converted Moor who converted to Christianity on his ship, guiding him all the way. So and it was a business deal. It was like, hey, hey, I got this, what you got here, let me take some of your people back to my queen. We're gonna come back with, whatever he told them. So, and there's even a painting with Queen Isabella with, under her cloak, they have in this title, three, American Indians and their three little melanated children, under her cloak, or three or six. But yeah, no, absolutely. The way they told history is not the way it actually happened.
No doubt. And so now you have King Ferdinand, right? It's now it's 1501. And you have King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella's husband, and allegedly he sent 50 Africans from Spain. Now, see, they tell you this stuff in the Google breakdown. He sent 50 Africans from Spain, not yet from Africa.
Those they tried to avoid using the word
More,
more
of course.
in everything, right?
Yes,
Because
of
it's like,
course.
more, what's that? And they don't want to spark that curiosity, right? And then once you go into the your own research about it, like, dang, and all of my years about history, I ain't never heard of this or anything. I don't know what this is, right?
Right. So, but they try to make it seem as if these Moors were Arabs, and they were the present day light skinned Semitic people. And I'm like, nah. So, but they tell the truth and tell the lie all in the same day. 50 Africans, not yet from Africa. That's exactly how they describe it if you Google
That
it.
word Africa wasn't even in existence at
I
that
know,
time.
but that's how they describe it, right? So 50 Africans.
Yeah.
And so these 50 Africans were shipped from Spain to Portugal. And from Portugal to the island of Hispaniola, to present day Haiti / Dominican Republic, right? They just call it the island of Hispaniola, right? And so this allegedly is the catalyst that started the transatlantic slave trade from Africa to the South Americas, meaning Brazil first, and then throughout. And 1510, I believe they did this from 1501 to 1510, and then like 1508 or 1518, I can't remember the exact time. It started the catalyst of the alleged transatlantic slave trade, starting from South America, and then later in 19 in the Americas and in North America. What is your depiction of this? And wait, let me speak to a couple more people real quick. Hey, listen again. If y'all have questions or if y'all have comments that you want read, make sure you do so through the super chat or through the Cash App. This is a different show, so I'm gonna highlight y'all once to welcome y'all to the show. I appreciate y'all being here, but make sure y'all do so through super chat, through the Cash App. If you have questions, if you don't like what we're saying, if you don't agree, do so through the super chat, through the Cash App. Shout out to Quantavious Lamont. Question: why do folks in Africa think we from Africa as well?
Because they got the same education, European education that we got. Same Rockefeller funded education that we got. They went over there and colonized. Well, same thing they did here after they perfected it. They went over to Africa with the Berlin Conference, divided Africa all up into different colonies, and they did the same thing to them that they did to us. Right, so they got to tie the two stories in, because a lot of people that don't even learn about American slavery until they get over here and get Americanized in our school systems.
No doubt.
Right, that's why they ain't never came looking for their people, because they got their people. Their people stood here.
They still with them. Hey, excuse me, Amir Abe. He said, no, it's not Izzy. The Treaty of Tordesillas was, God, listen, I'm not, I'm not saying this now. I'm talking about what Google says. So I got you. And that's why I'm asking y'all. So that's why I'm asking Noble. But I'm talking about what Google says. And I'm pointing out the lie within the alleged truth that they're telling and how they flip it. That's what I'm saying. So shout out to you. Thank you for that information.
The more is on point though.
Appreciate you, bro. Islam. Shout out to EJ. EJ said this should be good. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, fam. You got
a conversation, man. I don't know how much I know until I jump into conversations and people ask me questions and everything. Because I done studied a lot of stuff.
Islam, brother. It's all love. Islam. We just we building right now. And so this is we building. So if y'all would though, come on, y'all. Come on. We got one contributor. Like we are hour and 15 minutes in. I've been trying. I ain't been asking. Come on, y'all. Jeez, Luigi. Shout out to my brother, American Tradesman. Appreciate you, bro. $4.99. He was correct about Louisiana. We are those Indian people, Sherelle, Granville, and myself. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Sherelle. Shout out to Granville.
I'm still working to kind of vet this information out, but it's leaning more and more towards this. So I'm just just putting it out there. I'm still vetting it, but from when I start to go into the history of France, right? That was just like Spain was in Spain. It was Al-Andalus. Well, that was Gaul, and those the original people from there were the Gaelic people, right? And France, right, first starts popping up down there around Haiti and the island, Louisiana Purchase and everything. There's this French influence, and some of my research is leaning to the French language actually coming from Creole, not the other way around. So don't hold me to this, but I'm just go down this rabbit hole with me, y'all, because I'm digging some stuff up right now. I might come back once I have the solid evidence to do a presentation on it. But there's a lot of historical things revolving, Napoleon, and possibility that he might even be a fictional made-up character, and Toussaint Louverture. So it's crazy connections there.
Hey, shout out to American Tradesman. Because he supported, I will read his comment again. He said, none of my great-grandparents or anybody in my family talk about slavery in our family tree and history, but I will be FBA for that payday. Good luck with that. Shout out to you. That's hilarious.
That's never coming.
Never gonna happen. Like not like that. It won't happen.
Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
That's what I was just about to say, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to do him like that. He knows in that way it ain't gonna come like that. You got a better chance to get reparations through your tribe and through your flag and through your nation than FBA. I'll tell you that much.
I'd rather have my land than any type of fiat handout that they made out of thin air. No.
Deborah Leonelli is hilarious. Shout out to all the Islamic and Israelite Indians. That's hilarious. But because it's oxymoronic, but it's cool. The truth of the matter is that word doesn't really describe Indians. Is just like black. It's not a thing. it's not a thing. Give me 1 second. It's not a thing because guess what? They said that he was going to India. India didn't exist. It's not a thing. So Indians is not really a thing, but I laugh when people say it. Go ahead. You got it, brother.
It's a misnomer. No, I mean, like I said, our grandparents, great grandparents were told to not identify as such, and if you did, we're gonna kill you. And if your little children want to claim Indian and say that, we're gonna kill them too.
Let's go into that. Let's go into that, brother. I definitely wanted to go there. Man, you right with me, man. Lockstep. I appreciate you. Love you so much, brother. I appreciate you sincerely. So, hey, so this is the thing. That's exactly where I wanted to go. Okay. Can you go into the history of that about because that's where I was trying to go before when I was saying about how the $5 Indians, the Dawes Rose Indians, were the ones that was on the reservations. A lot of us weren't not put on the reservations. Go into that, into why, how, when they reclassified us first, put our children in school second, right? You go ahead and break it down. You got it. You got
Yeah,
it.
no, well, first and foremost, I mean, they you know, this the because it starts after Bacon's Rebellion. That's when they learned that they had to, do something. They had to separate us to control us and make us adversarial, right? Bacon's Rebellion was a bunch of indigenous, people and poor whites, poor European colonists, basically getting together and overthrowing one of the colonies, right? After that, then you start getting Christian black slave codes or Christian black codes, right? And they start to identify them as white and us as Negro, right? And basically separating us from that Indian status, right? So now there's the threat of any Negro clans. They were, they weren't the Klan at that time, but same thing, and they would, threaten with the threat of death. Parents would teach their children, they say, "You Negro, okay? We Negroes, we black."
What time frame? I apologize, brother. What time frame was this, and why?
We late 1700s, early 1800s. We talking. Um, as far as those the Christian black codes going out, and that's start. I want to say it's Virginia to be
Yes,
at. Yeah, I think I'm pretty
it
sure it's
started
Virginia.
in Virginia. Yes, yes, it did.
But out of fear for their children's safety, that they taught them they were Negro
In the
and kind of.
Carolinas as well. So it was in Virginia,
Yeah.
and then it made its way into the Carolinas as well. So around the early 1700s. And why? Give me one second. Shout out to
late
Amir. Shout out to
late.
Amir. Okay, I think we got a delay, brother. Give me one second.
Mhm.
Shout out to Amir Albay. Thank you, brother. $10. And these conversations about the confiscation of our heritage, our ancestors, and our history are needed. Islam to you, and appreciate you very much, brother. Y'all be like brother Amir Albay and brother
Oh, for sure.
American tradesman, and also to Jordan, brother Jordan. Y'all be like them and support the show, support the stream. Now, I mean, appreciate you, and also Ramela Israel. Ramil Israel, shout out to brother Ramil Israel. Appreciate you, brother. Said, what about the Freedmen's Bureau post Civil War? Was that possibly used to muddy the waters, especially the
Yeah, again, yeah.
census for freedmen's began in 1870?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, trying to uh, adopt everybody into that system so that they can control them. But they still didn't restore them to any place of semblance to where that they could, really, do anything. I think that those segregatory periods, before integration were great for us because we stuck together. We actually did business with one another, and there was we had great prosperous cities that they were forced so prosperous that they were forced and compelled to actually burn them down, with violence. Um, which again, there's a lot of discouragement, and a lot of people decided to integrate and just adopt this new lifestyle and new way of living. And then there were some that resisted, and that's why we still got whispers of from great grandma telling you that you Indian, you're not black. All
Yep,
of us heard that.
that was my whisper from my grandma. That was my
Mhm.
whisper from my grandma through my
Mine
cousin.
too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I didn't listen to her. I was grandma don't know what she's talking about. This Miss Richards at my elementary school. She's this history teacher. You know, she's the teacher. So I'm gonna listen to grandma.
Hmm. Shout out to Deborah Leonella. Appreciate you, sis. $2 say you're a good sport. Is having fun. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody who supported the show so far. Now, I will tell you, prove you're absolutely wrong. Blacks weren't no blacks were here before 1526. You're right. They weren't called blacks, but they were absolutely looking like us and absolutely melanated. So you're right in essence, because you want to
That
be right.
term, matter of fact, the term black comes from the Spanish word negro, after a river that where the water runs black. You know where the only river that the water runs black is at?
South America, right?
Yeah. So the whole origin of the word black is here. They never didn't use that term before. And it was swarthy. It was what's the other one? Swarthy and
More.
Swarthy more, but there's another term too. Tawny.
Yeah,
Tawny and Swarthy
yeah.
were the words that were used. Matter of fact, there's a Benjamin Franklin quote from one of his memoirs that's in one of those emails I sent you, and he actually says about the complexion of the people of the Americas and Africa. And hold on, let me see which email it was. It's on. It's on 5.
Okay, let me get that. Good file for you. Hey, listen, and also didn't the so-called conquistadors, when they did their journals, they described the people as dark people when they came across these people. Even so, to the queen of California, right?
Yep, I think it's DeSoto. His memoirs describe swarthy individual. So that's it's 1621, right out of the Peabody Museum at Harvard University, that the word Indian was substituted for Moorish. So Moorish even predates the term Indian. They were calling us Moors here first. That's 1621, right? Go to the next slide. Zoom in on that. This is an excerpt out of his memoirs, right? But we should the Palatine Moors be suffered to swarm into our settlements. They will never adopt our customs and any more than they can obtain our complexion. All of Africa, Asia, and America are swarthy.
Black, are
Yeah.
swarthy black.
Russia, Italy, Spain, France, Swedes, and Germans are black. The principal whites are made of Saxons and the English. So,
And this is from Benjamin Franklin's journal.
yeah, go to the next slide.
Wow, this is from his actual journal. Where can people get this?
Shoot, you can find a PDF online. So check out this photo. Look at the hands.
They don't match the face.
Again,
They don't match the complexion of the face. They're darker. The hands are darker.
and look, they coincidentally don't got no neck. Oh, the neck beads and everything. It's again, they did a whole bunch of
Whitewashing
of everything, man. Of
Next.
history in general. What's on the next slide? This is interesting, right? So the Tiguan Law, right? So 1786, the Spanish governor of Louisiana, that's the South, right? Mandated that free black women wear tiguans or headscarves in public. I thought there was no such thing as free black women. I thought it was all slave. This is 100 years before the Emancipation Proclamation. What's going on with that? Again, the discrepancy. They don't expect us to read and cross reference anything.
Wow. All right.
They own stuff, you know. So and this is just a map just showing, 1775 where the colonies were at and everything like that.
Right. Look at that. On the
I
outside of
mean,
that point.
they wasn't supposed to come, west of the Appalachians.
Right. Mm.
That's what we gave them to set up.
Mm. Just that land right there. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's what people don't understand. This is a very small portion of America compared to the whole landmass. And the fact that people think that all black people was enslaved is ridiculous. And number one, even in these colonies, all the black people were not enslaved in all these colonies.
Exactly.
It's just one,
Yeah.
two, three, four, five, about six states that these black so-called black people was enslaved at.
There was some other people that was enslaved. The original slaves, where the root word comes from. They was here, right? That's one of those piles too. But give somebody an inch and they take a road trip.
Facts. Yo, shout out to Abi Wadi. Peace, Abi Wadi. Good to see you, family. Good to see you in the building. All right, so where you want to go next on this? I'm gonna let you choose. Shout out to Keith. I salute to the American Aborigine new goddesses and gods. We am we are from here. We are from here. Shout out to that, no doubt.
Go to 6.
All right, let me get that for
Go
you.
6.
I think I got 6. Let me go 6. Let's go 6. Okay.
So yeah, can I before I want to pay homage to my teachers, because I would not know half of this, because this information isn't going to be, you're not just going to run across this information on a day-to-day basis. Like, somebody that is basically says, stop, hey, you're looking for something, look over here, look at this. What do you think about this? Did you see the same thing that I thought I saw? Okay, well, what do you think about that? Well, then look at this. And then I got pointed in a direction and I went down the rabbit hole because with my curiosity for truth. So, I said, Toriano Obashango L, my brother, D Ross, my brother, Asir the Duke of Tears, he opened my eyes to a lot of historic things. Just brother Tyrone Cannon, all, and other elders like Taj, respect, because he held the torch for so long. There's so many great teachers out there. Aline Bay, so many scholars that helped me open my eyes to things that were hidden. So I hope that I can do that for somebody else.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Shoot. View.
You got to scroll down for the pictures. There they go. So that Confederate flag is an ancient indigenous symbol. We're using that symbol for, who knows how long. Mayan times. Go to the next one. Deuteronomy, 28. Foreigners who live in your land will gain more and more power while you will gradually lose yours. They will have money to lend you, but you will have none to lend them. In the end, they will be your rulers. Sound familiar? Next. There it is again, It says black land on one side of the flag on the left. Go to the next one. Zoom in on that. Now, this is an old book, right? So Columbus is accredited with discovering the Americas, but they don't ever mention that the Mongols came here in the 13th century with elephants. You know, the Peru, Mexico, Bogota, Natchez, ain't that what Alabama?
And it's Mississippi.
Mississippi, okay, and Telemaco.
Yeah.
That's what over the Florida area. So the 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 Mongols came here in the 13th century, and the Indians that are the pretendians, they're the Mongoloid phenotype. You know, did they come across on the land bridge or these lighter ones? Maybe I'm not talking about the Siberians because the Siberians are heavily melanated. So yeah, but I'm talking about these other Mongols, right? Um, from what I've gotten out of this book, not all of them were able to make it back. So, they lived on the plains afterwards, following the herds. Probably erected some teepees. Where they then so that they could close their shop and follow the herds. But they weren't the mound builders. And there's more pyramidal structures here in the Americas than there are anywhere else on the planet.
Yes, sir.
So if there's a pyramid culture, or where civilizations are actually erecting structures, that absolutely started here just by rule of thumb. Like the heaviest saturated place is usually place of origin. So, you can go to the next slide. What's on the next slide? So this is 1866, Louisiana.
Sorry, brother.
No, it's all good. I thought slaves couldn't read or nothing. And then they just got freed with the Emancipation Proclamation, right? And this is but I think no, this is not 1866. This is I think 70 or no 60s, 65 or something like that. It's in the late 1860s. After or it's right before that Civil War period. So it's if we were prevented from reading and everything, how did all these melanated people get voted in and sit in Congress? How would you be able to do any business? That's a lie. Like I said, everything said has been his story is not the truth about the past. So what other? I got to send you a bunch of stuff. Hold on. Let's see what's some of the next one. Because we didn't touch. Yeah, go to.
Ramil said Israel said Abu Bakr the second of Mali came here too. No.
Yep, in the 1300s, Abu Bakr II. Yep, and he two trips. There's a book called.
Shout out to brother Ramil. Appreciate you, bro. If you donated, I'll highlight your comment multiple times. I got y'all.
This book, When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler. Again, the rocks, not anything that was written by,
What does that shirt say, brother? Hold on. What's that shirt say, brother?
It says, I'm the reason slaves were forbidden to read. Shout out to Epitome.
Shout out to Epitome.
Epitome 510 on IG if you want some shirts. So,
no doubt.
But yeah, Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out, he raises some serious questions that kind of tie into Abu Bakari and the Malayan Empire being the catalyst to the Aztecs. So, and it's pretty compelling information. I have yet to completely cross reference, but a lot of things line up there. So, yeah, definitely get that book, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, share the stream.
There
Do like my brother.
There was definitely trade going on between Africans and and Aboriginal Americans for I don't know how long, well before the Moors went into Europe. So
Hey, shout out to American Tradesman. Yeah, definitely share the stream, share the stream, share the stream. All right, so brother, you was about to break it down. You got it.
I was saying go to number go to 7.
7. Okay, yes, sir. I got you. See, number 7.
Let's break this down, man. Except we were not slaves, just we were POWs. It can't be a slave because I'm not a Slav.
All right, let's get into it. We at 7. Let's get to it. All right. There we go.
So the word slave comes from the Byzantine Greek sklabos, right? Which is the first. It was the name for the Slavic people, right? The reason for it is the Vikings used to capture Slavs and sell them to the Romans as slaves, right? Go to the next one. Oh, Negroes with slaves, right? So nearly 100 years, Negro owners of white slaves on Royale Island, located in the west coast of South America, have gotten fat on cheap labor for their white slaves who were unwilling to toll on steaming jungle farms and plantation homes and small shops. All the white slaves are former prisoners at the French penal colony on Devil's Island, on which Royale Island was once a principal bastion. Traditionally, prisoners released from servitude at Devil's Island were free to find work on the outside, but they were not permitted to return to France. Unable to find work, they were first to turn to Negro farmers in French Guiana for work, but usually it is work without pay. And all they get is a place to live. 3 scroungy meals. So again, the key thing is that there's in French Guiana, that's South America, that's north of Brazil, right? Like they're Negro farmers, right? That own the farm. I thought everybody over here was slaves. How they end up owning the farm? Go to the next one. What's native? This is the etymology of native, right? The root of it: person born in bondage, one born a serf or villain, right? So that's what it basically applied. It originally meant. Now, if you go down, 16 to original inhabitants of non-European nations where Europeans hold political power. For example, American Indians. Right. Go to the next slide. So this is a good book. One of the reasons why I don't let people borrow books anymore, because I didn't get mine back. So, but 300,000 from 1641 to 1652. Irish slaves, were sold. Over 100,000 children, 10 to 14, sold as slaves in the West Indies. West Indies includes Carolina, Virginia, all of those colonies were included in the West Indies. In this decade, 52,000, mostly women and children, were sold to Barbados and Virginia. Another 30,000 Irish men and women were also transported, sold to the highest bidder. They don't talk about this white slavery that occurred here. I got another book here called Poor White Trash that also goes into depth about the white slave trade that was actually going on. Go to the next slide, please.
Yes, sir. You got it.
So this is, a list of slaves, right? There's, you see, there's a Creole Negro, there's American Negro, Creole Negro, Copper or Cooper, American Negro, blacksmith, and African Negro, Creole Negro. I thought they was all from Africa, right? Why do they have to point out the African Negro if they all from Africa?
And there's only one. It only looks like there's only one African Negro. Everybody else is American.
And he the cheapest.
Yeah, he is the cheapest. Wow. Why is he the cheapest? He's a lot cheaper than everybody else. Why? Damn.
Well, he's 64 years old, so that's the main
okay.
reason. He's old. So, but yeah. So, yeah. So, like I said, man, there's a lot of discrepancies in what we were told about history and, who was who, what happened. We did 5. We did 8. Hold on. Go to 4.
All right. Let's see. 4. See if we can get the 4.
Now you know how white people like to document their shit, right? They love to document shit.
Is that the one with who is copper color?
No, that's the one where it showed the first picture is the Indiana Territory, 1865.
All right, give me a second. All right, pull that up. I got you, brother. Let's get to it. Shout out to my sister Avixa Forever. Good to see you, Avixa Forever. Let me. Hey, Avixa Forever. Good to see you, my sister. Give you love. Give her love, man, real quick. Give her the hearts. What are you doing? There you go. Give her the hearts. There you go. Shout out to Avixa Forever. All right. Let's go. So we have 4. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. We're there.
That's just Indian Territory in 1865. Tulsa is right in there between Cherokee and Creek Territory. Coincidentally. So, and we know the Creek absorbed a bunch of other tribes. When they formed the 5 civilized tribes, they adopted a lot under that. Again, the Creek is still a misnomer for Muskogee. So, but those were melanated tribes, and like I said, we already know what happened with Black Wall Street. Go to the next slide. Is what I was referring to.
No doubt. Thank you, Trelonius. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate the 5. He said, Trelonius said, supporting great content and a cool dude. I appreciate you, Trelonius. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you.
So they were white and they were slaves. Untold history of this. You can find this book on Amazon. I haven't peeled through all the pages, but this is just to let you know there's numerous books or literature on this topic, right? Although not widespread, and well known, but there's a lot of them that want to tell the truth about their history because they don't like the narrative that they were the big old bad slavers over here when most of these slavers look like you and me.
Yo, whoa. Hold up. Wait, what? Wait.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
You said most of the what? Wait. You said most of the what look like what?
You and me.
How do most of the slavers look like you and me when we're in the position that we're in as so-called black people in America today? How could most of the slavers look like us?
Hey, it's about, one, uh who's got the most gold, the biggest ships, the biggest navy, who's running the waterways, who's running trade and everything. And if I come and conquer your village or whatever, you gonna get enslaved and then I'm gonna sell you, right? They learned everything about slaving from us because were the first slavers, right? I the Barbary slave trade was what I read that was done to these Europeans, these pale skinned Europeans during that time frame
Mm-hmm.
was atrocious. Like I said, whatever they claimed and roots and all that stuff, that pales in comparison to what some of these people went through.
Cause
Like,
what oh man. So what some people that look like us was doing to them was far worse? Oh
bro,
Lord.
like the whole tongue that we perfected taking people's tongue out. I don't want you to talk. I don't want to. I don't want to hear any. I don't even want to hear. I don't want you to be able to pray to your God type shit. Like bro. It's like I said, when you read, hold on.
Hey, shout out to Aaron. Appreciate you, Aaron. Aaron P said, send email, and next time I go to ruins in New Mexico, I'll either send photos or videos, ruins of huge empires out here in I'm from 800 years ago. Wow. Shout out to Aaron Deep. I appreciate you, family. Hey, listen, my email is it's Israel Mills for Change at gmail.com. It's in the description of my channel. It's Israel Mills for Change at gmail.com. Definitely send me an email, Aaron, and I would absolutely love to see those videos and those pictures that you have. Shout out to you, Aaron. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Shout out to Aaron. Y'all be like Aaron and support the show. If you have questions, you have comments that you absolutely want read, make sure you do so through the super chat or through the Cash App today. We're not, we haven't been asking like that. So y'all support the show, support streaming. I mean, shout out to Vixen Forever. Salute. Hey, sis. Good to see you always. Vixen Forever is in the building. Good to see you, my sister. Always, always, always. And I appreciate you. Yes, they almost, but you just missed the sponsor of the show by like this much. But I think I'm going to highlight you anyway, because I really appreciate you supporting the show yesterday. Shout out to my sister, Vixen Forever. Forever. All right. Quantavious Lamont. Keith, what's up, Keith? Said, look up the White Declaration of Independence. Okay, Keith. Keith Lamont said, look up the White Declaration of Independence. Quantavious said, we are all one. They are not lying because of shame. The First World War erased to prevent coming back together. Damn. Oh Lord. So Brother Noble is going to get us some more literature. In the meantime, between time, y'all hit the like button. Likes are free. Likes cost you absolutely nothing. Hit the like button. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have cries of outrage, do so through the super chat or through the Cash App. Give your questions, your concerns, your cries of outrage through that, and we appreciate that for sure. Through the super chat or through the Cash App. Help us reach our goal today. We do have a goal, but like I said, we haven't pressed it like that. But support the show, support the stream. Now, man, for sure. Well, some dope stuff so far. So far, man, y'all ain't got no questions. Y'all can't believe y'all ain't got no questions.
Can't find that, but man, oh man, it dove into some atrocious things that they would do. But it caused a bunch of conflict too amongst them too, because they would have treaties or give people passes or certain nations passes with one superpower, but the other superpower didn't have a pass with them, and they were basically, hey, look, if you commandeered one of the ships that I had a treaty with, man, you messed with my bread, and then they would start fighting amongst themselves. So I mean, we went from controlling everything to losing everything over petty squabbles amongst ourselves. And
Mm. Wow. Amongst petty squabbles.
that's how we fell from control. Go to the next slide. That's a old posting I clipped. It's like, oh yeah, I don't know. It's that. I don't know what that date is.
It says 18. It looks like 1840 something. 40. Looks like 1840. June 7th, 1840 something is what it looks like. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what it looks like. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, like I said, all this animosity towards white people for that so-called black people have, half of them were actually slaves over here. But when you go up in your genealogy and you do your census records, your family, a lot of you guys will find out that there wasn't a slave there.
So how did we get locked out of the process the way that we seemingly are, and how did things get so systematically challenging? Let's just put it like that: systematically challenging, and the obstacles get so great for people that look like us in this country. How did that happen?
Well, when they freed the slaves by enslaving everyone. If that makes sense. So I'm gonna make this gesture to free the slaves, but on the backside, I'm got plans of making everyone a fucking slave. Excuse my French. The Abraham Lincoln was the last president of the republic. Okay. After he was assassinated, the Congress. He talked about government shutdown. Now this was total shutdown. Congress walked out. Or 11 states said, "Nah, we're not with the 13th and 14th Amendment. We out of here." Right? Not so much the 13th, but it was the 4th. The 14th was a big issue. But yeah, the 13th was a big was an issue only because it had 20 clauses originally. Now, when you look up the 13th Amendment, you're going to see 2 clauses. Well, the original one that was put in front of the senators of those 11 states that walked out had 20 clauses, right? And some of them were kind of overreaching and and kind of contradictory to some of the earlier amendments. So they walked out on those, right? Shutting down the country and basically sparking that civil war, which like I said, they've made lies about what it was over, free the slaves, all that stuff, economic issues and everything, but primarily it was over those 2. So Abraham Lincoln writes his first executive orders. Like the first executive orders ever are written by Abe Lincoln, and they are basically written to restart up the government at gunpoint. So they basically removed the senators that were duly elected by the people, placed who they wanted in there, right, and ratified the 13th or 14th Amendment, right? So basically hostile takeover. So in 1871, they decided to move the capital from Philadelphia to DC and establish the District of Columbia and create a municipal corporation with the same name as the Republic. And so now you got the Republic that everyone pledged allegiance to.
In public and in private, huh?
Corporate democracy, public and the private. And over the years, they've perfected the Ponzi scheme on the people. So we fell victim to it, just like everybody else fell victim to it. And people are, they're gonna be powerless to it.
But it doesn't seem like it's more it's more oppressive on people that look like us from here than other people, in your opinion, or
Um, you talking about
more
like
restrictive, more oppressive, more like on us, so to speak. It doesn't seem like it's kind of greatly more is because if you look at it, the median income, the income disparities, the land ownership disparities, the you know what I'm saying, basically the resource disparities, the asset disparities is tremendous from melanated people from here and Caucasian people overall. So why what is the reason for that, and why does it seem to be so pervasive? Um,
well, the wealth disparity all started with the various homestead acts that gave free land to European settlers that we didn't have access to. So and all these that those handouts were kept by those families for generations. So that's that advantage that was given to them, and then they were also privy to how the financial system works, how to hide their money and prevent it from taxation. And they've been passing that game from generation to generation to keep that economic foothold over us. So it's really not that we're unable to achieve that. It's just that we have not been privy to information that has been guarded and kept secret for damn near centuries and decades at least. So
but that's what I'm saying. Why is it seem like they want to keep us out? Why is it that they seem to keep this information from us?
oh, I mean, that's if ultimately it comes to survival. I mean, if you think about it, they get their global freedom, like hey, I can get up out of here, out of Europe in the 1500s. So um all before that is melanated domination globally, right? From the Tartary Empire to the Barbary powers, to the conquest of Europe, to all of the powers that empires that were in Africa, the empires over here. It was all melanated, so everything dominated by melanated people, to their detriment a lot of times, because we just read that they were the first slaves. So they can't go back to how it was at all, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they never have to go back or experience any of that. So what do? Let me heavily indoctrinate them. Let me heavily miseducate them. Let me do everything I can to control them, and at the same time control everybody else.
Interesting. Hey, shout out to KP for KC5 said KC said 13th. Shout out to you. Vixen Forever said ultimately comes down to control. Yeah. Makes sense. So indubitably, invariably, where I think that we wouldn't have done what they've done to us, maybe perhaps some of us would do worse, huh? If we was in charge. Is that what you're
Yeah,
alluding to?
yeah. I mean, it's just, if you just look at how some melanated people act to other melanated people or other people in general of a different political affiliation.
Right.
Can you imagine if they just had ultimate
Power
like
and control. Yeah.
gladiator power and control?
Yeah,
Man,
they'll definitely be.
it's bloodshed and everything going on, man. At that point in time, now it's I said what is it? Jimi Hendrix said, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, then the world will know peace. That is such a powerful and true statement. Like I said, the people need to start loving each other because we're all much more alike than we are apart. The reason why they have this control over the people in this country is because they constantly use propaganda to divide us and split us apart. You know, even with people, even within Christians, you know, they split between how many different denominations and disagreements because of somebody at the top who gets together with the person at the top of your organization that they don't agree, and they have, you know, they have parties together. They have sip cognac together, have a cigar and everything, and talk about how they're going to have their people against their each people, and then get together in the background. This is, ultimate divide and conquer. And as long as there's that, that left and right, that duality and no oneness, they're gonna continue to win.
So let me ask you this, and then unless there's some more that you want to say, we could close it up. I really appreciate your time, man. I really appreciate this build. So, if someone wants to prove for themselves that they might not be a direct descendant, meaning within the last 1,000 years or so, of Africa, and they look like us, where would you say some places that they could start their journey to look and to see and to discover?
Well, shout out to the brother Dane Calloway. He actually wrote a book that basically outlines and teaches individuals how to go about doing their genealogy research. I personally utilize the extensive census records that the Mormons have in their Ancestry.com website, and was able to go way into the 1500s with the records on not all the way back on everybody, but on my patrilineal side definitely. And again, I don't run into any slaves there. I don't run into anything but Indians, different tribes, so um, doing your genealogy research, I think, is the most important, because you're not, if you do your DNA and you don't know what you're looking for, and you don't understand the raw data, then you're gonna have to believe whatever they tell you your DNA says. So I would lean more so on your genealogy. Oral traditions, oral history is always a lot more accurate than we all believe. So definitely, if you got your elders, you got your grandparents, your great grandparents, go have those conversations with them, because once they're gone, all that history that they had and they've seen is lost, and there's going to be a time in the future where you're going miss out, or miss that you had that missed opportunity with them. So I just learn from my mistakes, spend as much time with them as you can.
Facts. And man, definitely. Was there anything else that you wanted to add, or you wanted the people to know, or you wanted to disseminate to the people?
I'm a spoken word artist. My book is on Amazon. It's called Me, Mind Emancipation. Child Man More. Not too thick. There's an ISBN number on the back. It's available on Amazon. Not too expensive. Easy read. There's some poems in there. It's more like a poetic autobiography. So you'll learn a little bit about me and how I became the poet and student that I am. And it has some poems, and it breaks down what I was thinking at my mindset when I was writing those poems. So hope you guys find it interesting, and you'll learn a little bit more about me.
Check out the brother. Check out my brother, man. My brother Noble Imhotep. Make sure y'all subscribe to this channel. I'll put this channel in the description, the title of this video. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Man, brother, I appreciate you, man. Dope build. We got to do this again because I know I got a bunch more questions, but I didn't want to tie up your day. You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
next time we do it, we'll tighten the topic, and then I can actually pull all the receipts, send them to you ahead of time, and then we can go through them. So, because a lot of people are looking for the actual receipts on it, so I'm gonna make sure I put it together so that and then show people where they can go down that rabbit hole to get that information too. So, lastly, listen to everyone. Read everything, listen to everyone. Don't believe shit unless you prove it with your own research.
Sounds like great information to me. Hey, don't believe it unless you prove it with your own research. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, without question. Hey, shout out to again to Aaron Purdue. Appreciate you, Aaron. Deborah Leonelli, to brother Ramil Israel, brother Amir Bey, Albay, American Tradesman, and Jordan Wanamaker. Thank y'all so much. And also to my brother Trelonius, thank y'all so much for supporting the show. Yeah, Quantavis, we probably do a part 2. If not next week, maybe the week after that, if the brother is available. As soon as he has another schedule available, maybe another Sunday, we could build on this again. You know what I mean?
Sundays are good for me. So we could do it, and then next week, anybody wants to come up and chat too. I'm always open to that. I'm always open to being wrong too.
Absolutely. So, hey, gear up, man. I'll let y'all know. And God willing, we'll be able to do it. I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate my brother. You know what I'm saying? For sure, building with me. Hey, y'all, make sure that y'all like the stream, share the stream, subscribe, and always, y'all can always support at any time at Israel Mills, excuse me, God, Cash App, IZSHOBANZ. Again, IZSHOBANZ. Appreciate y'all. We out.
Discussion, deserve dope donation, spread love through compensation. Cheese fed up the dope. Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.